Hello, hello. So nice to see you again. Today I have a super fun, really quick and easy beanie project for you guys, which is perfect for the holidays gift making session that I suspect more than just me are in now. So this is the KALDI beanie. And I really love this. You can wear it three ways. You can wear it up like this to the middle, or you can wear the flaps down like so, or you can actually go all the way up because I put an extra what do you call it, bottom there on the top. So if you take them all the way up to the top, then it's more like a cap. I think that's more like gentleman-y look. Like I usually don't wear it like that, but it looks great on my dad, for example, who I made the first beanie for. So then it's like more like whoop, like so. But it's so much fun to make, and it's super quick and easy. This is a full tutorial. So I show you, I just crocheted the whole beanie with you. It's really quick and easy. Like I make one in an hour and a half or something. Like you can easily, everybody can easily make this in one night. And the other good part about it, it's quick, easy, and it only takes one skein of either. You can use bulky yarn, just 100-gram skeins. I use this one here. I really like that. No, it's all on reverse. It's called Chunky Rowan Retreat. I also use this here, which is the double saga from Icewear. You could also use the lopi, Icelandic, or just any bulky yarn. And you can use worsted weight as well. This one here is made in worsted weight, and I just added, like, it's just one size fits all, really. It's just one size for all adults and really for kids too, like, you know, down to 10 at least. And so I just added in the pattern, and I show in the video as well. If you make it in worsted weight, which is finer, thinner yarn, then you just add a few extra rows. This one here is really cute, actually. This one I made for my friend Axel years ago. And that was the fun thing, because we went to a concert the other night, and he was wearing this, and he was so cute when he was wearing it. So I had totally forgotten about this beautiful, fun pattern, because I made this like 10 years ago. The first time it was published in my second crochet book. So I had forgotten about it, and then he came around wearing it, and I was like, oh my god, that was so much fun. So as a result of that, I have both translated the pattern and made like I think 6 or 7 beanies by now in like a week. So you know what everybody's getting for Christmas from me. You can go down in sizes as well by using either Aran yarn. I use that here. I haven't finished this one. This one's for my niece. And so I use the extra rounds, like I explained, for if you're using worsted. And then I just used Aran yarn and went down in a hook size, and that will fit her, hopefully. And then I made one in DK for her little brother. He's only 3 months old. Isn't it cute? And then I put a bow on top of that so that that she could, you know, you could tie it here as well, because he's just 3 months old, and it's so cute. So you can really go up and down in sizes in this, just with different types of yarn. Opa, great. So yeah, what you need is just 100-gram skein of any type of bulky or worsted weight yarn, and your hook, couple of buttons, and you're good to go. So hopefully you just have it at home, something ready in your stash. Like I just have one nice 100-gram skein of bulky lying around. You go check on that, and I'll set up and get ready and show you how to do it. So whoop whoop, KALDI beanie coming up. Oops, just one more thing. I forgot to tell you. I have my annual winter solstice holiday sale going on at the moment on Ravelry. So if you buy 2 or more patterns at the same time, you get 40% discount. That's just added automatically. There's no coupon. So this is the perfect time to go and get your, if you want to have a special holiday project or just some of your patterns that you've been eyeing, then now is the time to go and get them. A little holiday treat for you, right? So just really want to tell you that. I'll leave the link below in my for my Ravelry shop, okay? So now it's on. Whoop whoop, let's go. Okay, so it's time to make our KALDI beanie. Now, what you need is 100-gram skein in bulky weight yarn. It can be worsted weight as well. I have some instructions in the pattern how to do that, and I'll show you here along the way. You just add a few rounds and rows if you're using worsted, which is a bit finer. This here is bulky or chunky, that's the same weight yarn. It's called Retreat from West Yorkshire Spinner. It's a very lovely yarn. I got this at sale some time ago, and I just had one in each color, so it's perfect. So I made like beanies out of all of them now. And I love these one skein projects, don't you? So this one here is 100 grams and you get 104 meters. I think this is really perfect because it gives a really nice texture, and you have, you know, there's no chance of you running out of yarn. I did make one in this one here as well, which is Icelandic. It's called Double Saga yarn from Icewear, and that's chunky as well, but this is 100 grams, 100 meters, and I actually needed to add a bit on from the second skein in that one. But my friend Tui in India made one with the same yarn, and she had some leftovers. So you could manage this with just one skein in this yarn as well, but I didn't want to risk it for the video. But that's really nice as well. It's just slightly thicker. Yeah, then what you need is, well, scissors and a 6mm hook. So it's a big hook, so it just whizzes on. You need a stitch marker, preferably. If you do not have one, you can just use a bit of contrasting colored yarn, and at least 3 what you call these, buttons. You can use 3 or 5 buttons, depending if you put some on the front flap as well. Okay, so stitch marker, 3 to 5 buttons, hook number 6, scissors, and let's go. So we are going with round 1 for the KALDI beanie. The original name was Valdi KALDI for my dad. That's his nickname, Valdi. His name is Þorvaldur. And I'm just here trying to get the middle bit out. And it ended like this. Well, no problem. I just think I feel it's very important to have these bits on tape. Like when I'm... right? There we go. I found my end. I'll take my scissors apart here. Yeah, and I'm going to use... You need some for accent yarn as well, because you always do these with a little... with the trimming here. You can use the same color for that, but it's really cute to have a different color for the border like this, because then it really accentuates the form of the beanie. So I'm going to be using the Saga double here for the double Saga for the border, but you just need a bit of something. You don't need a whole skein, just a bit of leftover scraps for that one. And I do think it's nice to actually use just slightly thicker yarn for that actually. Okay, so off we go in round 1, and we're going to start by doing the magic loop like so. Just put the yarn around your fingers like so. We're going to hold here on the what you call this, the twist here, the join, and we're going to have our yarn that is long going to the right and the yarn that is short going to the left. Okay, and then we're going to hold here on the what do you call it, the crossing, and we're going to put our hook in here. We're going to do all of this with half double crochets, so it's really quick, the beanie. And we're going to go with our hook inside. We're going to fish the yarn out like so, but do not let go of this here, and get it like so, and just make one chain here to fasten it and to get ourselves up to the upright position sort of, but we're not going to work in this one chain. And the first round is just 10 half double crochets into the magic loop. Once you do the chain here, then you can let go of the crossing here. Okay, so half double crochet, we're going to yarn over, go inside the magic loop, go and get our yarn up like so. We have 3 loops up on our hook, and yarn over again and go through all 3 of them. Okay, and when you're working into the magic loop, always remember to go over both tails here so that it works properly. That was 1, and again we yarn over, go into the magic loop, pull up our yarn like so, yarn over again and through all 3. Okay, that's 2 and 3 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoop. 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so that's our first round. And just to show you quickly, the half double crochet stitch gives us the normal 2 loops here on top, and then it gives 1 extra on the back. Sorry about that. And so that is actually why we get this lovely texture on it here, because we're at the end of the working the beanie, we're going to pop it inside out, and this is the back side really, and I really like the texture of this here. I think it's quite nice. So that was round 1, just 10 half double crochets into the magic loop. On to round 2. And so now we're going to pull our magic loop together like so. Just pull at the short end here, and just take care to hold here. Whoop, and it closes completely. Hence the name, a magic loop, magic circle. And so it closes up. Okay, and when we continue, this beanie is all worked in a spiral or continuous rounds. I'm not sure if you use spiral in English, I'll have to ask. And we're not going to work into the little chain we did here. We're just going to work straight into the first half double crochet here. So we're going to yarn over, and this round is just 2 half double crochets into each stitch. So we go into both loops here, but we take care to leave that 3rd extra loop here on the back for the nice texture. So it was yarn over into both loops here of the first half double crochet of round 1, pull up and through all 3, and again yarn over, go into the same stitch, pull up, you got 3 stitches up on your hook, and through them all. Okay, so now I've done 2, and then I'm going to put my stitch marker into this first stitch here, just so that you know always where the end of the round is. Because since we're doing it continuously like this in a spiral, then it's not very clear where it is. And now we can tuck a bit better at our magic circle here so that it closes completely. And voila. Okay, so this round 2 is 2 half double crochets into each stitch. So yarn over to both loops, bring your yarn up like so, and yarn over and through all 3. 1 and 2, 1, 2, 2 into each stitch. So in the first round we have 10 stitches, and after round 2 we have 20. Oh, it's so nice to work with this yarn. It's really soft and nice, and it's so much fun to work with this, with like bulky weights and a big hook like this, number 6mm, because it just works up so quickly. Like you already have something in your hands, you know. Nice. Okay, 2 more stitches here left to go. I'm going to do 2 into each, and 2 into the last one here. Okay, easy peasy. So now we have already quite a big piece here in our hands, and we've finished with round 2, just 2 half double crochets into each stitch. And we go round 3. Take out my stitch marker here, and in this round the repetition is 1 half double crochet into the next stitch and 2 into the next one. Okay, so now I made 3 stitches, and I'm going to insert my stitch marker here in the first stitch of the round. I usually just do the first repetition and then I put my stitch marker in. Okay, so again we yarn over, go into the next loop, and work 1 half double crochet here, and into the next one there's 2. 1 and 2, and it goes like this all the way around. 1 and 2. 1 and 2.
And you can see here from the back side how we have this really nice texture here. These beanies, actually, I've made like 6 in just a few days, like 5 days, I think, or something. One night I made 2. And they're really so quick and fun to work. And great gifts. I am predicting everybody will get one of those for Christmas. And these work for men and women and whatever you identify as. I think they just work for everybody. They're really nice. And it's always so nice to give a warm present. Isn't it something that keeps you warm? It just says, I love you, to give people warm gifts. Okay, so here we have 2 and 1. 1 and 2 in this one. Yes, we have 4 left, so it's all working out. 1, 2 in the next one. 1 and 2 in the last one. And now you're supposed to have 30 stitches after round 3. On we go, round 4. And as you see, we're always working in continuous, so there's no join here. So we're just gonna pop out our stitch marker here. And the repetition for round 4 is 1 half double crochet into the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then 2 into the third, 1 and 2. Okay, so we have 1 and 1 and 2. Whoops, I forgot to put in my stitch marker. That's supposed to go into the first stitch, so that's here, and 2, 2 och 2, 2 och 2, it's this one here. Stitch marker in. I love working pieces continuously like this with no join. It's just so much prettier, isn't it? And easy. Okay, so we continue the same way. 1 and 1 and 2. And 1 and 1 and 2. This is really such a bliss to hook on. Oh my God, I love this. That's why I made so many. I have more. I don't even know who I'm gonna give all my oh my KALDI beanies to for Christmas. I made one for my dad, for my brother-in-law, for my little nephew. And I have 2 extra actually. I don't know whom. Yeah, and then for my niece as well. My sister already has one. Maybe I can give one to my mom. Actually, this is a pattern that is, what, 10 years old? I published it first in my second book, María, in 2013. So I already had 1 round of Christmas gifts where everybody got these. So they all have one already. But you can never have too many hats, especially not for those people who all live in the countryside and are always horseback riding and out tending the sheep and what have you. So it's a nice present, I think. Okay, almost at the end here. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Yes, very good. We have 3 stitches left, so I'm doing it right. But notice that I had tucked it up somehow with all my chatting. So the last repeat is 1, 1 and 2. Okay, and for round 5 we are going to work just 1 stitch into each, because we wanted to go, want to go straight out. We wanted to go starting to go slowly, like down a bit. So now we're going to do 1 stitch into each stitch in round 5. Okay, I'm going to start with doing 3 stitches here, and then I'm going to put in my stitch marker. 2, 3 here. And yeah, maybe I don't have to film that one in round 5. It's just 1 half double crochet into each stitch. And I'll catch up with you for round 6. Okay, I finished round 5, and after both 4 and 5, you're supposed to have 40 stitches. And now we're gonna do this last round was just with no increases. And now we're gonna do an increase again, and we're gonna work 3 half double crochets and then 2 into the next one, okay? So let's do 1 repeat, and then I'll insert my hook, my stitch marker again. Okay, so yarn over, and we do 1 and 2 and 3 and then 2 into the next one. Okay, I'm gonna put my stitch marker in 12:45 here. Okay, 1 more repeat here. 1, whoops, 2 and 3, just 1 into each, and then into the 4th stitch here we do 2, and just continue this same way for the whole of round 6. Okay, I finished round 6, and now you're supposed to have 50 stitches after this. Round 7 is just again 1 stitch into each stitch. So just do the first 1, 2, and 3. Put your stitch marker into the first one, and then just 1 half double crochet into each stitch of this round. Okay, I'm gonna do that, and I'll catch up with you for round 8. Okay, so I finished round 7, and as you can see, it is getting a bit of a form now. It's starting to go down a bit, which is what we're doing with these rounds with no increases, right? And for round 8, that's the last round of increases. There we are going to do, we are supposed to have 50 stitches now. And for round 8, we're going to do the last round of increasing, and there we're going to do 4 half double crochets and then 2 in the next one. Okay, so whoops, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Whoopa. Bye gullið mitt, gangi vel í ræktinni. Bye mom. Love you. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 into the next one. Okay, and then after the first repeat we put in our bye. 2, 4, 6. Put our stitch marker here to this one, and we do another repeat just to show you. It's always 10 repeats per pattern, per round, and we're going to do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 2 into the next one. 1 and 2. That's the dog going crazy every time somebody leaves the house here. Pepe was going off for the gym. Every time somebody leaves the house here, he goes running like a bolt of lightning up to the window upstairs and barks excessively at us at the window, because he feels it is very unjust that he is left here when anybody leaves the house. Okay, I digress. Yeah, that's the repeat for this. So yeah, maybe we'll just do this one together. As you can see, there is a formula for making a circle. We're always doing 1 more stitch in between our increases. Yeah, 1 and 2. We started with making increasing into each stitch, then there was 1 stitch and 2 and increase in the next, then it was 2 stitches and increase, 3 stitches increase, and now we're doing 4 and increase. So there is a formula to this. I am sure that my OCD people will be happy with this. And it's good also because it's easy to remember. And then when you're thinking, like if you're maybe babbling on like I'm doing here, then you can always just check and see. So you can see here, this one is the last, the one where I did 2, because you can see here is 1 stitch, 1 stitch, 1, 1, and then in this one here we have 2. Okay, and if you like duck up a bit the formula, I mean, it's no biggie if you have to add one at some point. You know, it's no, you know, no problem. But it's really easy to remember, so I can make these over the telly just really easily. And they're so quick. I love it. I timed myself the other night, and like from start to finish with everything, it was just like 1.5 hours, and I wasn't even like trying to be like, I wasn't doing it excessively fast or anything, just while I was watching a movie. So you can at least manage 1 per night, even 2 per night, like without much difficulties, I think. Okay, 4 and then 2 in the next. And again, 4, 2, 3, 4 and 2. Sjá hérna, 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5. Yes, it's all measuring up. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 in the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 in the next. 1 and 2. And so now we should have 60 stitches. And you see it's going a bit up like this, but I'm just going to put it out like so, because now if you are, even if you're making the worsted weight, you don't really need more. You shouldn't need to make any more now, but rounds, we'll just add rounds a bit later on if it's smaller. But now it should measure approximately 19 or 20 centimeters. So 20 centimeters is 8 inches. So like, I don't know what that would be, like 7.5 to 8 inches, yeah? So let us see. Okay, this one here is 10 up to here. Yeah, this is like 19 centimeters. And that's fine. So that's the if you're doing, I mean, it's just one size fits all adults, and really even for kids as well. Like this size is obviously fine for my boys who are teenagers, but I fitted one of those on my niece who's 7, and you just need to make it slightly smaller for them. I mean, it's really a one size fits all. So 18 to 19 centimeters, that's 7.5 or 8 inches. Diameter. I'm not saying this correctly. Diameter. You know what I mean. The length of the whole thing. Diameter. Oh, this is strange. This is a strange word. So, next up. Powering through. Going great here. Next up are rounds 9 to 15. And that's all just one stitch into each stitch. So because now we're just going straight down. Now it's already has this little like tight, small, like sort of like a whoop look form. And now we're gonna do the next 6 rounds, just 1 half double crochet into each. Oh, and look at the back side. Isn't this pretty? I love this back side. I mean, you can use this one if you want, but I always pop them inside out to have this here because it's really nice. So yeah, next 6 rounds is just 1 half double crochet into each stitch, and I will do that on my own, and you will as well, and then I'll catch up with you in round 16. Whoop whoop. Okay, voila. So I've continued and done these 7 rounds here, just 1 stitch into each stitch. And now if you're using different yarn, for example worsted, which is a bit thinner, or you have a different gauge than I do, let's just measure here now. These last 7 rounds here should be approximately 8 centimeters. How much is 8 centimeters? That's like 3.5, yeah, so 3.5 inches, or a bit more than 3.5. So I'm gonna measure this here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's exactly 8 centimeters in this gauge that I have here. If you're using worsted weight or you have a tighter gauge, then you can add 1, 2, 3 rounds here, maybe, just until you get to your 8 centimeters long. So it's really easy if you're using another type of yarn. But this is as it should be, obviously. Well, it's my gauge and I'm using the same yarn, so thankfully this worked. So now what we are going to do is go on to round 16, and that one is very easy. Yeah, and one more thing before we go there. I don't really move now after I've done the repeats, and now that I don't have to be doing the increases or anything, it doesn't really have to fit exactly. So I just leave the last stitch marker in here in after round, what was it? Round 8, when I stop doing the increases. And now I just see like maybe I have to do 2 more stitches here to get to where it is, but it's not so, you know, it doesn't have to be very precise here. But 2 more stitches here, and there we go. And to count the rounds, if you're not familiar with that, you can just really see each line here is 1 round. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, for example, yeah? So it's easy enough to count. Okay, so now we've finished our 15 rounds, and the round 16 is just 1 single crochet. So now we're going to switch to single crochets. 1 single crochet stitch into each stitch, and the single crochet stitches just go into both loops like so, pull the yarn up, and then you have 2 loops up on your hook, yarn over, and go through both. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3, and here actually I do want to put in my stitch marker. It's just easier to see when this round then is done. But round 16 is just 1 single crochet into each stitch. Okay, so I'm going to do that and get back to you. Okay, so I've finished this whole round 16 here, just 1 single crochet into each stitch, and that means that we have now finished the top of the hat. And we're going to go over and go on to working the ear flap, the first one. And I'm just going to leave this single crochet here in. No, this single crochet, this stitch marker here in, and we start the ear flap by doing 16. We're not going to break the yarn, sorry, and just work this ear flap straight in continuous. Row 1, sorry, of the ear flap. Well, I'm just going to tell you, row 1 of the ear flap. We're going to start and do 16 single crochet. So the ear flaps are the front flap is worked all with single crochet, and now we're going to be working back and forth. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3. Put my stitch marker actually here into the first or the last stitch here before the first one of the ear flap. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Oh yeah, and maybe before you start the ear flap, you should count your stitches and just make sure that you have 60 stitches overall, so that all the numbers will fit. Okay, so this was the first round of the ear flap, and now we're gonna do rounds 2 to 5. They are all the same actually. Like I said, the flaps are all worked back and forth. I really find this word flap very funny. Ear flap, flappity flap, flap, flap. Okay, so we're gonna turn, flap. And in rows 2 to 5, we're always just going to do the same thing. We're going to skip the first stitch and work 1 single crochet into each of our stitches back, okay? And so in this row, we work 15 stitches, for example, because we skipped the first one and we started with 16. Do, 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 do. Okay, 14 and 15, that was row 2, and then we flippity flop, turn, okay, yeah, And again for row 3, it's good to remember that always when you're from the outside of a beanie, you're doing row 1s or all the odd numbers, and when you're going from the back side, then you do the even numbers. Okay, so we did 1 and 2. Row 3, again, skip the first stitch here and just go into the second one and work 1 into each. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Do, 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 do. This is so quick, really. I can't even. No use in turning off the camera, really. Okay. In this row 3, we're supposed to have then 14 stitches, and we turn again for row 4. And it's again the same. Just skip the first one here and go into the second one and work 1 single crochet into each. So we're just decreasing 1 stitch, taking 1 stitch out at the beginning of each of these 4 rows. Okay, here, and the last one, you see it's here. Okay, and the 5th row, again the same. Skip the first stitch here and go into the second one. We're always working under both loops. And after row 5, you should have 12 stitches here. Should we count? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Robert, 11, and 12. Perfect. Okay, so this is just done here just to take it a bit together here. So we start a bit wide and we go together like this. Next up are rounds. 6 to not rows, sorry. I always confuse these because in Icelandic we don't have different words for rows and rounds. It's just all umferð. So for rows 6 to 10, we're just going to work 1 stitch into each. So we're not doing any decrease or anything. We're just working. And so I usually just don't even do, like you can do 1 turning chain here if you want to, but I just don't do it. I just go straight into there. Just dive in there. So here for these rows, it's just 1 single crochet into each stitch, and you want to maintain obviously then the same stitch count, which is 12. Okay. That's 6. And now we're on row 7. I really like stitching with this yarn. It's so like light and soft and I think it's some kind of fancy wool actually. I don't know it. Like it's, what did it say? It said something like where did I read that? Blue-faced Carry Hill wool. Huh. Well, it's so fancy, I don't even know what it is. So, but it really is a delight to work with, and just in general, it's such good fun. That was row 7, and just 1 stitch into each here, onto the 8. It's such good fun to work with bulky weight like this and a big old hook. I mean, it's just, it's been I've been sitting here for maybe an hour. And we're, so far ahead. It's so fun to have a project like this that makes, it happens quickly in your hands. And, just sit down for a couple of hours and you have a hat. I mean, if that isn't magic, what is? Okay, this is row 8. Just 2 more. Do, 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 do. 9. Yes. I hope you're having a good Advent. And looking forward to the holidays. I know I am. December is one of my favorite months of the year. That was 9 and one more for row 10. Okay, so this was row 10 here. And if you want to count it as well, you can count always. If you count from the back here, you can see that now the rows are sort of like, this is one row here, and no, that's 2 rows. You can see 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. If you're using worsted weight yarn, then you can add a couple of rows here just for reference. I'm gonna measure this here. Okay, so it started on this one. So we have here, what, 7 centimeters or 2.5 inches. Okay, so if you're a bit shorter, if you're using worsted weight, or a bit thinner, or have a different gauge, just add maybe 1 or 2 or 3 rows here, so that you have, what did I say here? It was, yeah, it started here. So yeah, 7 centimeters, 2.5 inches. Okay, on we go. Well, that was rows, maybe I should cut now. That was rows 6 to 8. So you should have now 7 centimeters long ear flap, almost there. Okay, so on to rows 11 to 12. Now we're going to do a bit of a decreases again. Okay, so in row 11, we're going to do 1 single crochet here into the first stitch, skip 1, and then we do 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then you should have 2 stitches left, and we're going to skip 1 and just work into the last one. So we've decreased 2 stitches here now. So instead of having 12, we now have 10 stitches, and row 12 is just 1 stitch into each. Okay, so that's just 10 stitches here, 1 into each in row 12. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And you can see it's just, we're just taking it a bit together to get the nice form, like, okay, that was rows 11 to 12. On we go with rows 13 to 14. Only 4 rows left of the ear flap. Again, we're gonna decrease here, just 1 stitch at the beginning and 1 at the end, and we're gonna do 1 single crochet into the first stitch of the row, skip the second one, and then we work 6 single crochets, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Skip the next one and work 1 into the last, like so, and we turn. And row 14 is 1 single crochet into each stitch. Like so. And now we are supposed to have what, 8 stitches, right? Yeah, 8 stitches. Okay, that was rows 13 to 14. Okay, on we go. The last couple of rows in the ear flap. Petit flap, flap, flap. And we turn. And now we're going to do a decrease in both these last rows. Okay, so we're going to work 1 stitch into the first, 1 single crochet into the first stitch, skip the second one, and then we do what, 4 single crochets, 2, 3, and 4. skip the next stitch and work 1 single crochet into the last one. Okay, and then we turn for row 16, and we're going to do a little bit of an decrease here as well. And we're working 1 single crochet into the first stitch, skip the second one, do 2 single crochets, 2, and then skip the next one and do 1 slip stitch into the last stitch here. Oh, no. Slip stitch is just inserting your hook, pulling the yarn up through this one and straight up through this one. And that is it for the ear flap. Cut the yarn and just yarn over once and pull it through, like so. And the first ear flap is ready. Nice, and it's got a nice sort of swing to it. I like the form of it, it's nice. The second one is done exactly the same. It is situated in a way that now we count here. We worked into this stitch here, so we're going to count from this ear flap here. We're going to count. We already worked into this one. Coco! 2, 4, 6 here. So we're going to leave like unworked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you insert your hook into the next one here. So there are 6 stitches here in between the ear flaps in the back. And you just pull your yarn up and make 1 chain and then work 1 single crochet into the same, and we're going to work over our tail here. There are almost no tails to weave in on this one. And here we just do exactly as same as before. We start with 16 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And so just situating it like this, it's so easy. Just remember that if you pull at it like this, then this one opens up, and it means that you've already worked into that one. And we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches, and then start in the next one here and do your 16 single crochets as the base for the second ear flap, and then you just work it exactly the same as I showed you this one here. So go forth and conquer. I will do the same and finish this ear flap, and then I'll get back to you with the front flap. It's all the flappity flap. Loving this. Okay, so I've done the second ear flap here. And that's what it looks like from the back. We had the 6 stitches here in between where we don't work into them. Oh yeah, and I forgot to do the measurements like once we finished, because it was supposed to be, what, 7 centimeters there after row 10. And then we are going to put it like this. And it's supposed to be like 10 to 11 centimeters when it's finished. And this one is just over 10, so that's perfect. Okay. So 10 to 11 centimeters approximately here. The ear flap from the beginning, and you start counting it really from this row here. Okay, so that's all done, and time for the front flap. And so that is situated here in the front, obviously, between the 2 ear flaps. It's the little things in life that make you happy, right? I was so happy when I asked my friends Sue and Suey how this was said. Front flap, ear flaps. So here between the 2 ear flaps, you're supposed to have 22 stitches. And we're going to leave 1 stitch without working into them on each side. And the ear flap first row is 20. So now we just, remember, if you pull at the ear flap a bit, then this one opens up, so you know you've already worked into that one. We're going to skip this one and insert our hook here into this one. If you're doing it, if you're left-handed, then you just do it from left to right. And we're going to pull up a loop and do 1 chain just to fasten. And then we're going to do 1 single crochet into that one, the same one, and work over our tail as we count forward total 20 stitches here. All single crochets. All the flaps are worked in single crochet. Okay. And I mean, if you have, instead of having 22 stitches there, you have 21, there is no harm nor foul in just making the front flap with 19 stitches instead of 20. I mean, it's not quantum physics. It doesn't have to be very exact. But obviously it's nice when it all lines up, and it's easy enough if you just count before starting with the flaps that you should have 60 stitches. Okay. Like so, and this is the one that we're skipping, so 2 more. I already did my counting, so I know that this is 20. Okay, so the first row is 20, and then you turn it or flippity flop it. And in row 2, we're going to just decrease a couple of stitches. Ba-ba-da-bam. Row 2, we're going to work 1 single crochet into the first one, skip the next one, and then we do 16 single crochets. Oops. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. God darn it. Hvað sagði ég hérna? 1, 2, 10, 12, 14, 16. I have 1 extra stitch. Wow, how did this happen? Oh, dear Lord, I already counted before I started filming. Oh well, then my front flap will have 21 stitches to begin with, but just imagine that it's all correct. And so we will just say 16. Skip 1 here, and then 1 stitch here at the end. So we decreased 2 stitches, and in theory have 18 stitches now. And then in, whoa, oops, bag falling off there. And rows 3 to 6 are just 1 single crochet into each stitch. So it's just straight, okay? And I'm gonna do that, and then I'll catch up with you in row 7. Actually, just for everybody and also my OCD, well, I don't really have, but you know, just, you can just like now, because I put this 1 extra stitch, just somewhere in this round here, I will just work 2 together to get the right stitch count. And working 2 together, you do it like this. You just go into the next stitch, pull your yarn up, and then you go, instead of getting the yarn and finishing it, you go into the next one and pull it up like so. And then you have 3 on your hook, and then you work the 2 single crochets together. And voila, now we have fixed the stitch count. Oh, what a relief. So now I should have 18 stitches as per the pattern, and be working just 1 stitch in 1 single crochet into each stitch in these rows here, 3 to 6. Okay, so I've done the 6th row here and have 18 stitches for everyone's peace of mind. And now next there are just 3 more rows in the front flap. And I'm gonna turn, and in row 7 we're gonna do a slight decrease here just to round it up a little bit. And as before, we're going to work 1 stitch here, single crochet in the first stitch, skip the second one, and then we have, oh yeah, I forgot to say, if you're working in worsted weight yarn, then you can do 2 more rows here of single crochet to get to the same length, okay? But what I was doing here is I worked the first stitch, skipped 1, and then I do 14 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14. Nei, hætti nú alveg. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, guðasilof, 13 and 14. I was just like, no, not again. Okay, that's 14 stitches, and then we skip one and work one single crochet into the last one. And then we flippity flop and turn and work for round row 8, just one single crochet into each stitch. And we're supposed to have 16 stitches now total. I just realized the song that I've been humming all around is like, isn't it like everything you can do, I can do better? I mean, that's just so that we're clear, that's not my intention with this humming. I don't know where I heard that. What a nasty tutorial. Jesus. Oh, well done, Tina. Okay, that's 16. That was row 8. And the last row, we're going to decrease 2 stitches again. So this is the last row, row 9, and we're going to do one single crochet into the first stitch, and then we're going to skip one. And skip one and work how many? 12 stitches, single crochets. Skip this one, and then we do single crochets, 12 in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then we're going to skip one stitch and finish it with one slip stitch into the last stitch here. Like so. Pull it up and straight through like this. Break the yarn. Yarn over and whoopa! That's it. So quick and fun. Okay, and just to measure what did my... It says in the pattern that the flap should be approximately 7 centimeters long. Let us see, moment of truth. So we start measuring it here. Well, it's 6-ish, 7, like if we pull it a bit, then it's 7. So 6.5, 7. And 7 would be like, yeah, again, 2.5 to 3 inches. And there we go. And that's the, let us see, I'm just gonna move this. How do I do it like this? So here you can see what it looks like. It's really nice, so quick and nice. And now it's just the border missing. And we'll get right on that. Okay, and like I said, I'm gonna use my double saga here for this. It's slightly thicker and just some nice accent color. So this is light gray, this is dark gray. It looks black on the camera, but it's not quite black. It's like sort of natural dark gray. And like, yeah, I think it's really, you can use the same yarn as you were using. You just need a tiny little bit of this for this last round. But it is nicer to, it's kind of nice when you have slightly thicker yarn. Sometimes I will use not the same yarn double, but like something, yeah, but this is slightly thicker, which is nice. So we're going to start at the back, just here in the middle somewhere, and we're gonna no, I'm not gonna have this here, it's the border time. So we pull our yarn up and make one single crochet. No, one chain, sorry. I just pull at it here, and I'm gonna work over my tail here, and we're just gonna work single crochets all around. So we start here, and it's really just one single crochet into each stitch. And we're going to always work over our tails all the way along. And when you get here to the ear flap, then you just try and make one single crochet into each stitch, each row. And so it's one here in the middle, and one here in the next one, you see? So for each sort of, you do one here, one in the middle, one. So you see? One here, one here, one here. So that's enough working over to the tail. And just one single crochet into each row at the end here of each row. And this is really nice. It really frames up the beanie and gives it a nice touch and accentuates, when we're using a contrasting color like this, it accentuates the nice form of the flaps. Now I'm going to take this tail here and work over that as well. So there's actually just one tail at the end, or two, that you have to weave in. And yeah, this really frames it up nicely and accentuates the form of the flaps and of like the design of the hat. So here we're getting here to and then we're going to work two. Now we're at we have 4 stitches here at the end, and we work 1 and 2, and then we're going to do the little what's it called, loop here to fasten up the flaps. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 or 7. I might just try at this point and see if it depends a bit on I have these here that I'm going to use, so this is good for that. Just make sure that you can get your bottom through there. And then I'm going to go into the same stitch that I was in here, that I made the single crochet, and do 1 slip stitch, like so, and tighten. And then we continue and do 1 here, and then 1 here. And like, I mean, this is not an exact science, and it is a bit awful that, no, I don't like that. You see here, yeah, I forgot the first stitch here, the single crochet here you do before the little loop. You only have to do it a bit tightly. Like so. Maybe even better just do a slip stitch there, yeah. Okay, so slip stitch there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then another slip stitch to close it up, like so, and tighten it well so that it doesn't, like, it's not good when it's loose there. We don't want no loosey-goosey border. Okay, so that looks like that. And then you just continue and do 1 stitch in each row. And you sort of find the rhythm in it once you start, but always just 1 per row, and when it's on the side of something, and then 1 per stitch when it's when we have stitches, obviously. Okay. I'm just gonna do this row with you, like, why not? Round, sorry. Okay, 1 here. Looks nice enough. Okay, and then the 1 stitch we left here without working into when we started the front flap. 1 stitch each row here up the side. So we're working from this side, because then we will turn it inside out, the hat, the beanie. And when we do that, then when we double these up, these flaps, then the right sides will be on the outside. Okay, so a little trick here on the border is nice to skip this one and just go straight into this one here, and that way it gets a bit smoother here on the corner. Okay, on we go. It's easier obviously when you're just going into the stitches. And it's just 1 single crochet into each stitch, easy peasy. Again, we're going to skip this last stitch here and just go straight here. And now we're going to work over this tail as well. just to get a bit rounder there at the corner. Okay, and then it's into each row and working over a tail at the same time. Like so. This is the one stitch we left without working into it here between the front flap and the ear flap. And on we go. I really like working these rounds. I love working the borders always. Just gonna let that tail, I've worked over it much enough. I really like doing the border rounds. They are the best, aren't they? Just framing everything up nicely. Okay, here we have a tail as well, so I'm gonna work over that. This way we have almost no tails to weave in. Ah, la, 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 la. That's always a bonus. Okay, we're gonna go into this one here. And here we go into the first one, and then we're gonna do the slip stitch into this one. Tighten it nicely, and then the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then another slip stitch in the same stitch here that we did the slip stitch before the loop, and tighten it nicely. And then we do 2 single crochets and continue up on the side of the second ear flap. Sometimes I feel like it goes like, if you go into this one here, then it gets a bit like, goes a bit too deep, so I like to go into this. It's a bit more difficult to go into this one here, but it is maybe a tad nicer. Okay. Everything you can do, I can do better. What a nasty, nasty woman. Okay, are there any more tails here? No, I worked over all of them. And we're almost the whole round here. Like so. Okay, looking nice. So the only thing really you want to take care when doing this round here is not going too deep and trying to keep them at the same sort of depth inside how long you're going into the fabric when you're working them. Okay, and then there are 3 stitches here left. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to cut the yarn. And you see here I did the chain, and I'm going to take my yarn, whoopala, all the way up like this. And we're going to finish it off with the invisible stitch here at the end. I have this big old needle here, which is really nice to have. This is plastic, and it comes a bit up like this at the end there. And it's really nice to work with these when you're working with bulky weight yarn. Okay, so with the invisible stitch, we took it straight up here, and then we're not going to go into the chain. We're going to go under the both loops of the first stitch single crochet we made here. It's a bit difficult to see in this dark yarn, but and pull it through like so. And then we're going to work into the back loop here of the last stitch. And voila, you have an invisible join here. And to go like so here, just to and just do a few stitches here. You don't want to pull this too tightly here now because you want it to be the same gauge as the other one. And let's just give it one more tug. So go back one stitch and a few stitches front, like so. Okay, we can now cut all our ends. This one, when I'm cutting the ends, I like to do it like a bit, how do you say, diagonal, like this. Because then if you cut it like really straight, then when you pull at it like this, these will sort of get lost in the fabric then. So now, and just tuck at all your ends and cut them with this diagonal move, if you will. Because we already worked over all of them, right? No more here. This one here, just tuck at it, tuck and snip. Tuck and snip. And what should we more have here? Then that's all the ends were worked over, and don't worry if they're sticking out a bit like this. Once you start using it, then they will disappear. And then there's just the last one here at the top. And we want to weave in the ends that we do have. This is sort of the wrong side, but that's what we were going to be using as the right side. So I'm going to tuck at it nicely, pop over to the other side, which is the side where we have been working the whole time. And you always want to give, when you're doing the magic circle, you really want to tuck at it nicely and then do quite, I would say, excessive darning, because you don't want the magic loop to get undone. So we're gonna do, usually I just do 2 movements, but here I'll do like 3 or 4. Like so, and tuck and go back 1 stitch and move for a few stitches like so, and the 4th one, back 1 and front. Okay, and we snip. And at this point now, what do we do? It's like this? No, is it? No, the other direction, sorry. And now we're gonna pop it inside out. Whoop, like so. And then we have this beautiful texture here from the back side of the half double crochets. And then now you see this is where we were working from, and we want that when we pull our flaps up like so, then we have the right side here of the single crochet stitches as well, you see, because this is the wrong side and this is the right side, yeah, and up like so. And what I do now, I'm not going to put I am not going to put I only found 3 buttons in the same style from my granny's button box. So I'm just going to sew up the front flap, and it really tells you where it wants to be. So when you do like this and you just, it sort of doubles here automatically. You want it to be a bit up like this, you see, you want this line to show. So you go like this. And so for example now, if I count here from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 rounds here on the top, and I'm gonna fasten it so that the brim here is just where the 8th round starts, okay? Because you want it to be a bit up like so here on the sides, yeah? And you don't have to fasten it very much. I'm gonna use my nice big needle here. And you don't really, you just have to, like, it's good once you've decided where it's supposed to be to put in something to hold it there in place. It's like a needle there, okay? And so I'm gonna start here at the side. Come up here, I'm just going straight through here. Leave a bit of a tail, we'll weave that in later. And so I'm gonna go down here, just 1 stitch here, and you can go up a few stitches. Like, it's okay from the back side if you have longer tail. So I'm just doing it like this. It's just tilting it really. And then you don't see it very much here. Okay, and then down 1 stitch and up. It's just a few stitches here. And you don't want to do this too tightly or anything. Just take care that it's sort of smooth here and straight according to the row here that we are using, or the round here that we are using for reference. And just take care to, from the front, have them short stitches, but then from the back it's okay to have them a bit longer, or at least I feel so, and I feel that my grandmothers would approve because they were also practical women, and you do not have to be doing work for nothing. Yeah, so 1 stitch here and like 4 stitches from the back. And now we can take out this. And like the alternative would be just to fasten it up like this, and just fasten it here with a couple of buttons here, which is really cute too as well. Actually gives it a little extra. Then you put it here. That is cute though. Yeah, well, for another one once, or if I go and buy buttons. But you can easily do it like this as well. I think it's nice. And for example, for teenagers and stuff like that, I would say that my sons would want it to be a bit more just, you know, not too extravagant. Okay, down and up here. Like so. And one more. And just take care not to do this very tightly. You don't want to be tugging at it or anything. You just want it to be tilted up. And then we go through here with the last stitch to the other side. And so from the other side, it will look like this. So you will see these stitches here are a bit long, but I think this is quite all right. You can do them shorter if you want, but like I'm like really making these like a mofo. So I think it's nice when I can just finish them up quickly as well. And then we're just going to hide our tail here, going a few stitches in one direction and a few stitches to the other. Again, please do not tug at it very much because we have a loose gauge here and we don't want to ruin that. Cut it diagonally like so, and then we take the other tail and work that in. Oh, this has been so quick and nice. Few stitches here too in this direction and a few stitches back in the other, like so. And voila, we're almost done, like so. Isn't it nice? And as you can see, I have quite a lot left. That's why I recommend this weight, because there's, I think, practically no chance of you running out of the yarn. And you can use these leftovers like I did these here. These are the same yarn here, and so I use the leftovers from this one to do the border on this one, and vice versa. And now I have the third here to go with, and it's really soft as well. It's lovely, just lovely. And so this is just done and dusted here now. The only thing missing is, why do I have it? Yeah, okay. The only thing missing, isn't it nice? Ah, it's a bit, well. You can fix that in blocking, but it's not quite perfect here. Oh well. Maybe it's my punishment for humming that song all along. Well done, Tina. Well, it's good enough. It's nice. It's all good. Yeah. And now you just want to fasten your buttons. I don't really have time to fasten mine because I promised my dad, who this original hat was made for, to go pick him up and help him drop off the car somewhere somehow. So now what you do on the sides and where you fasten these, you count down to row 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and put your fasten your button there, and just maybe even like I would want it to be a bit higher here. I mean, it's just up to you really. But then you get this, and then you fasten your, just put it where you want your ear flaps to go up to, like here, and fasten one here, one on the exactly same spot on the other side, and then one on the top. And when you have one on the top, then you can also go all the way up to the top, and then it would look like more of like a cap, and then it goes up on the back as well, you know, like this, which is kind of cute, especially for boys. I think this is actually maybe more of a like a guy's way of wearing it, but you can do it all the way up to the top, or you can do it here, and then it's just around row 8 or 9 here, 7, 8 or 9, just depends on how high you want it to go, and fasten your buttons there, and voila. I'm a bit upset about this, but I think maybe it's just the angle. Nah, it's all good. This one's just slightly too, oh well, I mean, nothing is perfect. Apparently everything you can, I can do, you can do better. Okay, bottoms on, et voila, whoopa, you have your KALDI beanie. Hopefully the first of many, and you can give everybody you love this for the holidays. Okay, I'm out, over and out. Love and light, you guys. Ciao, ciao. Just gonna show you all the. I have made these just atlas. Cheers in gingerbread. Ching. Bye. Okay, just want to show you the updated here. I put in my buttons. Sorry, there was somebody on the group asking where to place the buttons. I say it in the pattern, but it's in the 8th row here from the top, and just sort of in the middle here of the side. But the best thing is just to put your ear flap up and see where you want to have it situated. Like, it's a matter of opinion as well. But that's how I situate them. And I came back to this actually, and I don't think it's so bad here. I was a bit upset with myself that it wasn't perfect here on the corner, but I think it's just quite nice. And it looks lovely with the little buttons. And before I go, I just want to show you this one here as well. This one is the tiny one I made for my little nephew, who's 3 months old. And I didn't do any buttons on that one. I just did laces so that you can either tie it up like so, or you can take it down and then it's like warm, and you can, you know, tie it under his little cheek. So his little, what do you call it? Yeah, well, you know where you tie it. So that's another option. And I just made this one the same pattern with DK yarn and a 4mm hook, and that fits him, and he's 3 months old. He's quite big though, so. Okay, so that's all, y'all. Really looking forward to seeing you, your KALDI beanies. Keep me posted in comments and in the group. Ciao, ciao. Lily.